Welcome to another round of the Red Clay Soccer Report, powered by our friends at NoFo Brewing. John Nelson here with you, and we are getting to the end of conference play, getting ready to celebrate the end of the regular season here in 2025, heading toward conference tournaments, heading to postseason tournaments. And so what we're going to do this time around, we're going to take the tour and let you know what happened through this weekend and get you ready for the week that will be coming up here in the world of college soccer around the state of Georgia. We're going to start things off in the SoCon, and it was the wrap-up of the regular season there on both the men's and women's sides. And you look at what happened for Mercer over the last X number of days. We'll go over the last week, and traditionally how it goes in women's soccer, it's weekend to weekend. So you didn't miss anything during the week involving a side from the state of Georgia, but back on the 19th, Mercer shut out the Citadel 1-0. We'll catch up with Coach E coming up in just a little bit. On the 26th, it was Wofford and Mercer, goalless draw in Macon. And in that particular matchup, looking at the stats on the board, Mercer now 3s across the board in conference play, 8-6-3 in the overall. Wofford 5-8-6, 2-4-3 in the SoCon on the women's side of things this particular year. So for the Mercer Bears, once again, 4 saves across the board for Lindsey Bell and Avery Parker. 17 saves for Elizabeth Novola for the Wofford Terriers. Busy day for shooting for Mercer. It was 3 shots for Karapitis and Hayden Lepley. Maggie Rollins gets in a shot. Kelsey Hinton got 3. Anna Bachman got 3. Morgan Eichelberner ended up with 7 shots on the day, 5 of those on target. Sydney Farr with 3, Sarah Ingalls with 4, 1 for Regan Moore across 28 shots. 28 shots on the day, 17 of them on target, but none of them in the back of the net. So probably your MVP, if you're a fan of the Wofford Terriers, has to be between the sticks, Elizabeth Novola, and her activity back on the 26th, getting ready for conference play to come to a close. So you end up with those matchups on the 19th and the 26th. Coming up, it is Mercer at ETSU, but that one's going to be played on the campus of Western Carolina. That one's in 5 days' time on the 31st. And then you get to determine who's going to go and continue on in the home sites in the conference tournament with Samford and Western Carolina. 6 teams advance, and the 1 and the 2 get the automatic buys until late in the day on the 31st. So let's lay it all out for you one more time. The Citadel and Wofford, VMI and UNC Greensboro, they wrap up the day on the 28th. So on your Tuesday, that'll do. Then 5 days' time on Friday, either in Cullowhee or in Homewood, Mercer and East Tennessee State in Cullowhee at 4 o'clock. TBA to play Samford in Homewood at 5. Then TBA to play Western Carolina in Cullowhee at 7 as they're hosting the doubleheader. Then Furman and UTC is at 8 o'clock in Homewood, Alabama, with Samford as your host for that particular wing. After the matchup on the 19th, here are the words of Coach Tony E. after the 1-0 win, courtesy of Mercer, their own selves.
Mercer defeats the Citadel by the final score of 1-0 here in Charleston, South Carolina. And Coach, overheard your halftime speech. You weren't too happy with the performance in the first half there from the team. Was it something more about their effort that you weren't happy about, or was it something tactically wise, X and O's wise, or you wanted to see more from the team in the second half?
Yeah, when you come in here, it's a difficult place to play, and the team, they beat beat Chat, Ty G. They're coming in with some momentum to the Citadel, very organized, and we knew, these young ladies at the Citadel are very wired differently than we are with the military stuff that they do. So we knew it was going to be difficult for us. And just the effort we put forth the first half, it was decent, but it wasn't the same intensity we got to have like we had at G and we had at Samford first half. So I had to be the challenge, like, hey, listen, this is you're a fraction of yourselves. Play to your potential. Your postseason has begun. We told them before the game started, this is our postseason to get out of the bottom 4, to get into where we could finish in the top 4 possibly. And that was the whole challenge at halftime was, hey, find it within yourselves to push yourself, to push your teammates, to put the sense of urgency and pride, because there's 3 weeks left in the season. You make it to the conference final. So I was proud of how they responded into that second half.
Sydney Farr with the game-winning goal in the 77th minute. Started off a free kick. Citadel cleared it. Went to Maggie Rollins, and then I thought she did a great job to pick out Sydney, and then Sydney did a great job to put it away to give you guys the lead. Just talk us through that goal and the effort there from those two. Yeah,
we worked all year about, second chance, delayed runners and so forth, and off the free kick they cleared out. Good job by them, but then again, great recognition by Maggie to see the space and City with a delayed run in behind to get it and finish it nicely. We've challenged City to be more productive up front the last few games. She's trying hard to score, and it's great for her for that great finish. I'm proud of the effort she found and great vision by Maggie to put the ball into her.
You guys close out the regular season at home against Wofford. Talk about the importance of that game to try to get a win going into the conference tournament.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin's a new coach there. They're playing at a high level now. Wofford. They won last week at VMI. I think they beat Furman today, from what I heard. And I'm not sure where they are in the standings. I think possibly we can finish 4th if we take care of business, which would be massive. Going into today, we're sitting at 8th. So it's a big test, a big challenge for us. Our team knows that. So they're going to be disciplined. They're going to be organized. Our goal is to prepare all week for a massive game. Again, playoff mentality. It'll be a fun game, and hopefully if we play to our strengths, we'll come out with a positive result.
Coach, congrats on the win, and thanks for your time.
Thanks, and go Bears.
So now let's take a peek at your standings and find out how things are laid out here in the SoCon on the women's side. And as we get into the final 6, Samford 7-0-2 at 23 points, 6 points clear of Western Carolina. ETSU at 16, Chattanooga at 15, Furman at 13, Mercer at 12, and that's your top 6 seeds heading into the postseason. UNC Greensboro, Wofford, and the Citadel each with 9 points, and 8 points for the Citadel, with 2, 5, and 2, and VMI did not win in conference play this entire season. So then you go on to the men's side and how things laid out in the conference. So once again, going back 7 days, we'll take it over through what happened starting on the 21st with teams in the state of Georgia. Jacksonville and Mercer, a 1-1 draw. That one was in Macon. Wofford had a very busy day. They had a very busy week. They had 2 matches in 4 days, drawing Wake 2 at 2s and then losing to East Tennessee State 4-2 in Johnson City. VMI and Mercer on Saturday. Mercer with the 2-0 win in Macon, and then it was Furman, who's going to be very, very busy. They're going to go from the 2-0 win they had against Greensboro. They have to turn around and then on Tuesday take on Winthrop in Greenville, and then the conference season wraps up on the 1st. ETSU, VMI, Mercer at UNC Greensboro, and Furman is at Wofford, checking the standings heading into the final week of the season. Furman and Mercer each at 10 points at 3-0-1. East Tennessee State, Greensboro, and Wofford, they are East Tennessee State and UNC Greensboro at 2-2. Wofford's at 1-3. VMI is 0-4, looking for their first win in conference play this season. So that takes care of the SoCon, and from there we go to the Peach Belt. And it's been very, very busy time in the Peach Belt because you have teams that are ranked across the board. And we're going to focus on the women's side with a couple of teams in particular. Obviously, you can't go far without focusing on the team up at the University of North Georgia. And the standings, once again, they've run the table. 9-0, 27 points in conference, 13-1-1 overall, nationally ranked. And a lot of folks are looking to knock UNG off of the ladder. Lander at 22.7 wins. Columbus State, 7 wins and 21 points. Georgia College and State University, 5 wins and 17 under Jack Marchant. Flagler at 4 wins and 14. USC Buford at 3 wins and 11. USC Aiken a match in hand and 11 points. Clayton State at 3-5-1. Georgia Southwestern at 1 win and 6 points. Middle Georgia 2 draws and 2 points. Albany State with 1 draw in conference play this season. 2-11-1 in the overall. So going back into the schedule over the last handful of dates on the women's side, we'll take you back to Wednesday, and it was Clayton State over Albany State by the score of 4-1. Then you look at Columbus State over Buford, 1-0. It was Flagler and USC Aiken drawing at 1. Lander 3-2 over Southwestern. UNG, 2-0 winners over Georgia College and State University. Here's the highlights from Dahlonega, courtesy of UNG, their own selves, and the Peach Belt.
Now here come the Nighthawks. Chloe Diaz with it. Diaz at midfield. A lot of room to work with. She'll take a shot. That one is in! From distance. Hawks strike first. 1-0.
Wow. Oh, wow. I mean, I was just about to say, this Bobcat defense looks really wide open.
Yeah,
they're not.
Tried to advance. It goes out of bounds. Is looking for Bailey. Now the throw goes over to McGill. Left side of the 18. Gets past the defender. Now in the box. Across the face of the goal. Dangerous spot. Shot. That one is in. North Georgia. 2 goals in the first half. And they got a commanding lead over the Bobcats in this one.
That's going to be a great shot. Sorry, I just saw Grayson McGill just ran over to David, the photographer. Just did the silencer.
All right, let's dial it back to what happened last Saturday. Georgia College and State University, 5-0 winners at home in Milledgeville over Albany State. We'll catch you up with what happened there in a bit. Lander, a shutout win over Beaufort. Columbus State put 9 on Aiken. Flagler, 2 on Clayton State. And UNG beat Middle Georgia by the score of 5-0. Middle Georgia then went to LaGrange on Monday and lost that one by the score of 2-0. On the weekend, once again, USC Aiken shuts out Beaufort on the road. Columbus State shuts out GCSU on the road in Milledgeville. Lander won with a shutout at Middle Georgia. Flagler won with a shutout at Albany State. Clayton State and Georgia Southwestern drew in Americus. So let's dial it back and find out what happened in that GCSU match with Albany State. Here's your highlights, courtesy of GCSU, their own selves.
That's perfect. You can't put that on a tee any better than Ellie Fuller just did with that corner kick. Nice open field there. From Easton. This one's coming over here. Nice move from Bake. Ellie's right there. Fuller puts it in the back and then for his second goal of the game. Bake to Fuller, and it was beautiful. Nice kick. That's in there. Oh, beautiful. Ellie takes a bow on that one. I may be an assist, but at that point I'll count it. We'll get the call from Mac in a minute. See what he has to say about it. Keep it going. They've opened up the floodgates today.
Now let's set up the rest of the schedule. On the 28th on Tuesday, Beaufort out of conference goes to Mars Hill. Edward Waters out of conference travels to Cochran to take on Middle Georgia. Wednesday, it is the busiest day on the remainder of the calendar, short of what goes on the weekend when we circle back, as they have 2 weeks left on the schedule. In the midweek, North Georgia at Lenore-Rhine. Clayton State at Lincoln Memorial and Harrogate, Tennessee. Newberry and Lander is now off the board. Montevallo at Columbus State. Flagler at Berry. Wingate at USC Aiken. Albany State is at LaGrange. Saturday, Albany State's at Columbus State. UNG is at Clayton State. GCSU is at Lander. Georgia Southwestern at Flagler. Beaufort at Embry-Riddle. Middle Georgia is at USC Aiken before we reconvene toward the tail end of the schedule and the playoffs, which will be set for the weekend of the 8th. On the men's side, when you look at what is going on currently in the Peach Belt, North Georgia, once again, 8 wins, 25 points. They've won 6 in a row. Flagler, 5 wins, 19. Lander has played 10 matches in conference. They've got 5 wins and 18. Clayton State at 4 wins and 13. USC Aiken, 3-4-3 with 12 points there. Georgia Southwestern, 3-5-3 and 12 points. Middle Georgia with 1 draw in conference play this season. Then also on the board, you look at the schedule as it went down and how it's going to look as everyone is chasing the 25 points at the top of the board. It is going back into the midweek. Clayton State loses at UNG 4-1. Georgia Southwestern Flagler 1-1 draw. Lander goes to Cochran, beats Middle Georgia 3-1. Then on the weekend, it was Clayton State and Lander. Lander 3-1 over Clayton State in Greenwood. Georgia Southwestern and USC Aiken tied at 1. North Georgia 2-0 winners against Middle Georgia. Flagler 2-0 winners over St. Leo. Wednesday, as we get you caught up on the schedule, Flagler at Aiken, Middle Georgia at Clayton State, North Georgia at Lander. Friday, Trinity Baptist non-region matchup with Middle Georgia and Cochran. Saturday, North Georgia at Flagler, Georgia Southwestern at Clayton State. Lander at Aiken, and that will determine who makes it into the quarterfinals. As we mentioned on the women's side, on the men's side, it was a big matchup involving Clayton State and Aiken, and there were a lot of goals in it. So let's go all the way back to the activity involving these two schools. And believe me, it was a shootout, and Maddie Cruz was on the call for this one. 5 goals by the time they were done on Sunday the 19th. Clayton State and USC Aiken, courtesy of Clayton State and the Peach Belt.
Kohler will pass it back to Chagor. Chagor will send it all the way back to Roque under pressure, but allow for a reset. Chagor. Torresias. Wearing the captain's armband, he sends it out to the right, dribbling forward. Plays up all along over the top. A great run, driving in. Lakers looking to get on the board early. Into the 18, trying to low-range shot. Wide open, slots it into the back of the net.
Goal number 11, Camilo Velez, assisted by number 2.
Camilo Velez immediately getting on the scoreboard early on, setting the tone early for the Lakers. Play, though. Now driving forward, an opportunity for the Pacers. Great touch driving forward. Now 1v1 stepping in. Chagor with a well-timed tackle. It's still not loose. Rogan, it slots in to find the equalizer.
Goal number 17, Juan Felipe Ruiz.
Juan Felipe Ruiz is able to come in off of the bench and make an impact. It's really well-timed from the Uruguayan. He's able to step up. And as Chagor is driving down trying to meet him, he moves to the other side. It's something we saw Benteke, if you watched the Elaine United game last night between the Five Stripes and DC, the same thing that Benteke did too. It's the second they move to the other side, allows for you to get a better look and rotation for you to beat the center back, and that's exactly what Juan Felipe Ruiz did. And finds the equalizer as we're tied 1-1 between the Pacers and the Lakers. Extracurriculars. Quizera will get a chalking to by the referee. So it'll be a free kick here for the Lakers. Jimenez. Heavier touch, and Kawada's able to like a wow, brilliant turn from Kawada. But as it's stabbed away from him, Cruz, La Chica, sending Wagner forward. Wagner driving forward. Wagner's able to cut in past Matos. Wagner, low-range shot, Cruz. Cruz with the shot, deflects into the back of the net.
Goal number 16, Eric Cruz. From number 10, Fabian Wagner.
You had the time, you had the players too. And now you gift the Pacers a free kick here. Have to defend this one. Sends it out, a really good step from Overmars. Driving forward now, Cruz. Cruz skipping forward. Cruz able to hold on to the pressure. Cruz trying to make the turn. Cruz is still able to hold on. Really good work from Eric Cruz. Driving forward, finds Wagner. Wagner circles around. Wagner back out to Cruz. Cruz passes it back to Overmars. Feeney. Feeney sends this ball looking for it. La Chica slots it into the back of the net.
Goal number 9, Gonzalo La Chica. Assisted by number 18, Jonas Kohler.
A brilliant ball. That's able to come in wide open in the far post. It's Gonzalo La Chica.
In for the Pacers is number 12, Samuel Mitchell.
Really good turn from Savic. Savic floats this ball into the box, but it goes over the end line. There'll be a substitution. Pablo Conquera. He checks into the match. He checks in for Frankie Martinez. Driving forward, chips that ball, and slots it in to make it 3-2. Pablo Conquera checks in immediately and makes an impact. Just chips that ball over. And just like that, Pablo Conquera makes it 3-2.
So that takes care of the Peach Belt. Let's go into the Sun quickly and let you know what's going on with our friends at SCAD and how things are going for them as the regular seasons are winding down. Standings on the men's side in the Sun Conference, and once again, we pay attention to SCAD specifically. SCAD right now is third in conference play, 5 wins and 16 points. Kaiser 6-0-1 and 19. St. Thomas 6-1 and 18. Florida Memorial is at 13 points. New College at 12 and 4 wins. Southeastern 10 wins and 3 wins and 10. Ave Maria and Weber each with 1 win and 3 points. Warner chasing after their first win of the season. Checking the schedule and how things were and how they're going to be. It was in the last 7 days. Back on Wednesday, Kaiser shut out Warner 4-0. Weber 2-1 winners against Ave Maria. New College put 6 on Florida Memorial. SCAD lost at St. Thomas and Miami Gardens on Thursday 3-2. Kaiser beat Weber 5-0. Florida Memorial 2-1 against SCAD in Miami Gardens. And Southeastern beat Warner on the road 3-2. Coming up Wednesday, Kaiser and Florida Memorial is going to be in Miami Gardens. Time TBA. Keep an eye on your favorite socials for that one. Warner is at Weber in the morning. New College at Ave Maria, St. Thomas and Southeastern. And then wrapping up the regular season, Pensacola Christian. Non-region matchup against Weber International. On the women's side, looking at the standings in the Sun, Southeastern, Kaiser, and SCAD, and St. Thomas. No surprise. They're all bunched up toward the top. Southeastern 6 wins and 18 points. Kaiser 5 wins and 16. SCAD 4-1 and 3 and 15 points, 8-5 and 4 in the overall. St. Thomas 4 wins and 14 points, match in hand on SCAD. Florida Memorial 3 wins and 10 points. New College 2 wins and 7. Ave Maria 4 draws and 4. Warner a win and a draw, 4 points. Weber International 1 draw, looking for their first win in conference play. Then going over what happened in women's soccer over the last 7 days and getting you ready for the week that will be. 22nd of the month, back on Wednesday, Florida Memorial shut out New College. SCAD and St. Thomas a goalless draw in Hardyville, South Carolina. Same score, Weber and Ave Maria. Kaiser put 8 at Warner. Final there, 8-1. Saturday, SCAD shut out Florida Memorial 4-0 in Savannah. Kaiser shut out Weber at Weber 2-0. Southeastern 4-0 over Warner. Coming up tomorrow on Monday, New College at Florida National. Wednesday, end of the conference season. Florida Memorial at Kaiser, Weber at Warner, Southeastern at St. Thomas, and Ave Maria is at New College. Let's get you into the SSAC and let you know what else is going on there in the NAIA. SSAC and AAC and Sunbelt and Gulf South and the SAA. We still got that to conquer here on the show. Thanks for hanging out with us here for the Red Clay Soccer Report, powered by our friends at NoFo Brewing. Starting on the men's side, when it comes to what's going on in the SSAC, Life on top, 8-1 in conference, 12 wins overall, 24 points. William Carey, 7 wins, 22 points. Faulkner, 20 points with 6 wins. Next grouping, Tennessee Southern at 14, Dalton State at 13, University of Mobile at 13. Thomas University is at 9 with 2 wins. Blue Mountain at 7 points and 2 wins. Point 2-7 with 6 wins. And Bruton Parker is still looking for their first win in conference this season. Going back over what happened the last 7 days to get you ready for the next 7 days. It was a pretty spotted schedule in the week. Wednesday, Mobile at point 1-2-1. William Carey lost at Faulkner 2-1, and that kind of knocked them down the standings a bit. Saturday, Georgia Gwinnett beat Thomas and Thomasville 3-0. UT Southern 2-1 winners at Blue Mountain. William Carey put 5 on point. Faulkner 2-1 winners at Mobile. Then Sunday, Life beat Dalton State in Dalton by the score of 1-0. And then on Thursday, you're getting into the conference tournaments. You're trying to determine UT Southern's opponent and William Carey's opponent. Then on Friday, it's Dalton State's opponent. Then on Wednesday the 5th, everything kicks back in once again with Dalton State and the survivor there, and you continue in there. at the Emery-Fulmer Soccer Complex. It's campus sites, remember, on the 30th and the 31st, but then you go to Montgomery and Emery-Fulmer for November 5, November 6, November 7, and then you anticipate the league tournament kicking in starting on the 20th of November. On the women's side, taking a peek at standings and schedules. Standings right now, William Carey, they've run the table, 30 points, 10 wins. Life, 1 win behind at 27 points. Then it's UT Southern at 22.7 wins. Mobile at 19 points and 6. Point University, no draws in 10 matches, 18 points for them. Dalton State, 5-5, same as Thomas University, and they are both at 15 points. Faulkner's at 9 points and 3 wins. Burton Parker, 2 wins and 6 points. ABAC, 3 points and 1 win. Blue Mountain chasing after their first win of the season. Going back over the last 7 days, getting you ready for the next 7 days. Taking you back into the midweek, ABAC lost to Thomas in Thomasville. Thomas University put up 17 in that one. Point 1-0 hosting Mobile. Life and Georgia Gwinnett a 3-3 draw in Marietta. Thursday, William Carey beat Faulkner 4-1 in Montgomery. Saturday, Bruton Parker in a shootout with ABAC won that one 5-4 in Tifton. UT Southern won 1-0 at Blue Mountain. William Carey 2-0 at Point. And Mobile put 5 on the board, beating Faulkner at the Jungle 5-0. Then Sunday, Life in the doubleheader beat Dalton State by the score of 5-0 in Marietta. That sets up the conference tournament, which kicks in on Thursday at Life University and William Carey and UT Southern. So keep an eye out for those matchups on Thursday. Then it kicks in on campus sites once again on Friday, and then you get into everybody gravitating toward Emery-Fulmer on the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, and the 8th of November. Then you get into the AAC, and we mentioned last time out on the women's side that Truett-McConnell had clinched the division and then clinched the conference. So they are the team that's on top in the Appalachian Athletic Conference. And so chasing after what's going on in men's soccer right now, checking the standings once again as the season is at 12 matches done. Union Commonwealth at 9 wins, and they are at 9-0-3. Milligan with 8 wins, Truett-McConnell 7, and they are tied with Pikeville at 7-2-3. Pikeville has played 17 matches, and they're at 9-5-3. So Union, Milligan, and Truett-McConnell each have a match in hand on Pikeville. Tennessee Wesleyan has played 12 in conference. Everyone has played 12 in conference, by the way. So Tennessee Wesleyan in conference, it is 12 points, 7 wins, more losses than Pikeville. Columbia 4s across the board in 12 matches. Reinhardt at 5-6-1. Spartanburg Methodist at 4-5-3. Montreat is at 4-6-2. CIU's at 4-7-1. Johnson with 2 wins and 6 losses. Bryan 2-7-3, and then Bluefield, Virginia is at 0-11-1 through the 12 matches this season. Now, last 7 days to get you ready for the next 7 days. Take you back to the neighborhood of the midweek and around the 20th or so. We'll go on the 22nd. Columbia Spartanburg Methodist, a goalless draw. Same for Bryan, Tennessee Wesleyan. Union put 12 on Bluefield. Montreat and Pikeville, a 2-2 draw. Truett-McConnell Johnson, a goalless draw. Saturday, Bryan beat Columbia 2-0 at Columbia. And it was Tennessee Wesleyan winning at home against Bluefield 1-0. 1-1 Spartanburg Methodist and Truett-McConnell in Cleveland. Johnson and Montreat. Montreat won that one 4-1. Pikeville beat CIU 2-0. And it was senior day for Tennessee Wesleyan as they were playing the club team from the University of Tennessee, Knoxville, and Carolina beat Milligan by the score of 2-1. So that sets up what happens on the 28th and the 31st, and that gets you ready for conference and NAIA activity on the 20th. And it's looking like it's going to be Boyce and Pikeville on the 28th, Columbia and Truett-McConnell wrapping things up on the 31st in the AAC tournament quarters, and then it goes down from there. So keep, once again, an eye on everything at aacsports.com on the men's side to get everything squared away for your favorites and the postseason. On the women's side, when you look at the standings there, once again, ranked 11th in the country, and through 13 matches, here's your rundown. Truett-McConnell ran the table, 13-0, 16-0-1 in the overall. Tennessee Wesleyan, 11 wins. CIU and Milligan, 3-4, identical records at 9-3-1. Reinhardt is your 5 with 8 wins. Pikeville had 7 wins. Brunel and Montreat, identical records at 6-6-1. Brunel had a better regular season record. Spartanburg, 3-7-3. Johnson, Tennessee with 4 wins and 4-9. Columbia had 2-8-3. Bryan, Union both at 3-10, and Bluefield did not win in 13 matches this season, 1-14 in the overall. Looking at the schedule on the women's side of things, taking you once again down to roughly the last 7 days, and we'll get you as posted as we can when it comes to everything across the board. On Tuesday, Spartanburg Methodist in Spartanburg shut out Columbia 2-0. On Wednesday, Tennessee Wesleyan put 6 on Bryan. Union had a touchdown on Bluefield, 7-0 in Barberville. Pikeville 4 on Montreat in Pikeville. Truett McConnell 7-1 at Johnson. Reinhardt 2-1 at Brenau. On Thursday, Milligan 1-0 at Columbia. Saturday, Bryan beat Columbia 2-1. Brenau beat Union 2-1 in Barberville. Truett McConnell shut out Spartanburg Methodist 4-0 in Cleveland. Tennessee Wesleyan put 8 on Bluefield. Georgia Gwinnett and Milligan a 3-3 draw. Montreat 2-0 over Johnson. CIU 4-2 at Pikeville. Now, sets up the AAC tournament coming up this week. Tuesday, Milligan against an opponent to be named. Johnson is at Brenau in the opening round at 4:30. Play-in game is Spartanburg Methodist and Montreat, and then everything trickles down from there. On Saturday the 1st, it's the quarterfinals in Athens, Tennessee, with Tennessee Wesleyan waiting for the survivor from the week. Then you get into the Sun Belt. We mentioned Georgia Southern and what's going on with the Sun Belt Conference, and you find out that it's been a very, very tough week across the board for everybody in the Sun Belt Conference as they are trying to navigate and get into the postseason. Let you know where they are. So once again, men's soccer, you look at the standings in the Sun Belt. And remember, the Sun Belt is an atypical soccer construction. It's not like the college football construction. So here's the rundown. Kentucky 6 wins, 18 points. Marshall 5 wins and 16. West Virginia 5 wins and 15. 2 big losses for West Virginia this year at home. The first was to Gardner-Webb, and then they took it on the chin last time out in Morgantown. Georgia Southern 4 wins and 12 points. UCF 3-2-2 and 11. Georgia State 2-2-3 and 9. Old Dominion 1 win, 6 points, and the same for Coastal Carolina, 2 wins and 6 points. South Carolina 5 points, and James Madison 0-6-1 on the men's side with 1 point. Checking the schedule and what happened over the last 7 days, taking you back into the midweek. It was UCF beating James Madison 3-2, Kentucky 2-1 at Georgia Southern, Coastal Carolina 3-1 winner against Georgia State. West Virginia 1-0 hosting Old Dominion. Marshall 4-0 over South Carolina. It was at UCF and Georgia State, a 1-1 draw on Sunday. Marshall and Old Dominion goalless draw. Georgia Southern and James Madison 1-0 in Harrisonburg. Coastal Carolina 3-1 in Columbia. And Kentucky at home 1-0 win in Lexington over West Virginia. That'll set stuff up for Friday. Georgia State and Kentucky, Marshall and West Virginia, ODU and James Madison, South Carolina and Southern in Statesboro, and Coastal Carolina and UCF. Tuesday the 4th will be the last day of the regular season, so in a week and a half's time we'll get you closer as we get closer to that. Women's side of things in soccer, looking at the standings in the Sun Belt, once again you have East and West. Old Dominion 18 points and 5 wins. 16 points for Georgia State and a record of 5-3-1. It was James Madison once again 15 points, Marshall at 13 points, App State at 9, Coastal at 8, and Georgia Southern 0-4-5 with 5 points. They did, Georgia Southern, get around with Old Dominion with ULM. We'll catch up with that one in just a sec. Texas State and ULM both at 19 points. South Alabama in the West Division with 18, Louisiana with 15. Then it's Arkansas State with 5, Troy and Southern Miss with 3 points each. Getting into the schedule from the last 7 days, and we will take you back to the activity on the 24th of Friday. App State and Southern Miss. It was 2-1 App State at Southern Miss. ULM and Georgia Southern. Georgia Southern had a 2-0 lead, but it would only end up with honors even. Here's your Georgia Southern highlights, courtesy of Georgia Southern, their own selves, and the Sun Belt and ESPN+.
Kendall Wilson, long shot and a goal!
Half a chance for Wilson and absolutely smacked it into that bottom left corner. Good shot.
She'll try again and scores! Meredith Pugh stayed with 2-0 Eagles lead.
Old Dominion 3-0 winners against Arkansas State. James Madison 2 at Georgia State. And here are those highlights. Jason Longshore on the call, courtesy of Georgia State, their own selves, the Sun Belt, and ESPN+.
Good switch over to the right side to Hill. Hill will send it up the right side. Nobody there, but this will be an opportunity for Georgia State to press. It's back to the goalkeeper to serve. Sends it up the left side, deflects out, throw for Georgia State. Brianna Hill's played her way into the starting lineup in the second half of the season for the Panthers. It's been very important in that right back spot. Throws it up the line. Glenn tries to win it. Still battling Emily Glenn. Dukes will clear. Into the middle. James Madison trying to find space here on the near side. That's going to get run down by Teresa Brink. Back to Anderson. Good clearance with the left foot. One back by Jordan Yang. She cuts into the middle. Back to Cassidy. Glenn nearly with the steal. James Madison now up the left side. Hill there to defend. Cut back. The cross. Gets through. Gordon able to deflect. Yang with the run on. That's deflected. Still alive, and James Madison puts it into the back of the net. Georgia State could not find the opportunity to clear, and the Dukes open the scoring in Atlanta. Cutting in on the right foot. The cross, the header, the goal for James Madison. Jenny Lackey. Brilliant cross from out wide by Olivia Del Toro, and Lackey is not going to miss from there. James Madison take the 2-0 lead. Lackey with her 11th goal of the season. Del Toro put it on a platter, and Lackey heads it home cleanly. Just automatic from there, Jenny Lackey.
Texas State and South Alabama, goalless draw. Coastal Carolina and Marshall tied at 1. Louisiana put 8 on Troy in Troy. On Wednesday upcoming, Coastal at Arkansas State. Southern is at App. Southern Miss is at Marshall. GSU is at Old Dominion. James Madison at Texas State. South Alabama and Troy. And ULM is at Louisiana. And that does it for the month of October. Looking at the Gulf South before we get out of here, and we'll let you know what's going on in the Gulf South Conference involving Valdosta State. On the men's soccer side, looking at the standings, it is Mississippi College, West Florida, Christian Brothers, Auburn, Montgomery, West Alabama, Montevallo, UAH, Union, Trevecca, Lee, Spring Hill, and Delta State from top to bottom. Mississippi College clinched the conference title, and the teams that are going to be in the postseason were your top 6 there as well. Now you get into women's soccer. Look at the standings there. And it was West Florida, Montevallo, West Alabama. They're in. They have clinched their spots. Lee, Spring Hill, Delta State, Mississippi College, UAH, Union, Trevecca, Valdosta State at 2-6-1 and 7 points. And Christian Brothers and Auburn, Montgomery were the ones behind Valdosta State in the standings. Valdosta State was 4-7-4 as they are right now. So going over the activity in women's soccer over the last 7 days and get you ready for the week that will be. It was on Wednesday, West Florida 2-1 at Montevallo. Mississippi College put 12 on Tougaloo in Jackson. Friday, Lee beat Mississippi College 2-1 in Clinton. Trevecca lost to Delta State 2-1. Valdosta State beat Christian Brothers in Memphis 4-2. West Alabama 2-0 in Huntsville against UAH. And Union beat Auburn Montgomery 5-0 in Jackson. Saturday, Montevallo 3-1 winners against Spring Hill and Montevallo. Sunday, Valdosta and Union was postponed because of weather in Jackson, Tennessee. It was nasty. Christian Brothers 3-2 winners against UAM. Mississippi College shut out Trevecca 1-0. Monday, Lee takes on Delta State. Wednesday, Montevallo against Columbus State. Friday, it is UAH West Florida, Spring Hill, West Alabama, Christian Brothers and Trevecca, Mississippi College and UAM, Union and Lee, Delta State and Valdosta State. Sunday, it is West Alabama, West Florida, Union and Trevecca, UAH and Spring Hill. Delta State heads back home to take on Auburn Montgomery, Mississippi College and Valdosta State, Christian Brothers and Lee. And then you get into One match on Monday, Clayton State and Montevallo as a mop-up match in non-conference. Then the quarterfinals start at Spring Hill on Saturday, the 8th. Then into the SAA, we'll take a peek at what's going on at Oglethorpe. And with the Division III season kind of winding down, we get to find out what's going on in the Southern Athletic Association. And for men's soccer, as we take a peek at it, looking at the standings on the men's side of things, 6 matches, Trinity and Southwestern each ran the table, 6-0. Suwannee at 10 points, Berry at 3-3 at 9, Oglethorpe at 2-4 with 6, Center with 1 win and 4 points, Millsaps 1-5-3, Rhodes 0-4-2 and 2. Looking at schedule, letting you know what happened once again over the last 7 days and getting you ready for the next 7 days. Friday the 24th, Southwestern shut out Millsaps by 7. Suwannee shut out Oglethorpe by 3 in Suwannee. Trinity over Rhodes 1-0. Berry at Center won in Danville, Kentucky by the score of 1-0. Trinity then beat Millsaps 3-1. Southwestern 3-1 winner over Rhodes. Suwannee beat Berry 3-1. Center beat Oglethorpe 4-1 in Danville. Then Wednesday it'll be Mary Hardin, Baylor, and Trinity, and Rhodes and Millsaps on Friday, setting up Saturday the 1st, Oglethorpe at Berry, Center and Suwannee, and Southwestern taking on Trinity. That's the SAA, and that is the rundown of everything that is going on in the Red Clay. Here at the Red Clay Soccer Report, powered by our friends at NoFo Brewing. Once again, thanks to our friends in all the conferences for all the highlights and all the coverage that they give on a weekly basis, as we in turn present it to you toward the end of the regular season and getting you ready for conference play. So that is what's going on here, powered by NoFo Brewing. I'm just John Nelson. Thanks for dropping by here for another round of the Red Clay Soccer Report. Play it safe, everybody. Enjoy your games.